Alrighty, so on the topic of adding wheel spacers to your mud mower, first thing you want to pay attention to is your bolt pattern. Most all mowers with 5-lug hubs are 5 on 4.5, 5 lugs on a 4.5-inch circle. Even the Sears, the oddball Sears that have 2 and then 1 on one side, they're still 5 on 4.5, same stuff. Next thing you want to pay attention to is the hole size in your hub there. They have this pretty big centering ring in the center of your hubs on mowers, and only like Jeep spacers, I think, fit. There may be some other ones. You just got to make sure this hole is plenty big in the center. You know, measure it up, match it up if you can. So the next thing, obviously, once you have this, what you gotten this far, is bolting them on. And your stock lug bolts really aren't long enough. And also, you really can't get a socket on them down in there. It's important that whatever you bolt them on has this cone. Shut up. Shut up. Go away. Thank you. It's important that whatever you're bolting them on with has this cone. Obviously, it matches up with the cone shape in there. Cone, taper, whatever you want to call it. Taper is the correct term, I believe. Brain fart. What I do is I make these things, stick a bar out in the lathe, drill a hole in the center, turn that taper on them, and then part them off. Obviously, most of you don't have lathes, so the next best thing I would think is to take and lock a nut onto the end of a bolt like this and just grind this taper on there. Kind of match it up to your lug nuts, like so, and it'll just sit right in there. Make a lot of contact. You don't just have these 6 points of contact. And, you know, get it fairly close, and it should be good enough to stick in there like that. I would take this nut and thread it all the way up to the head of the bolt on something like this, so you could get it down in there. Obviously, what some people do is they'll thread bolts through the back side of their hubs and have them as studs. That's an all-right idea, but with these lug nuts like this, you really can't get a socket on there. So it's better to just thread this up to the head on something like this, and then you can get a socket on this here. You're sort of trying to emulate what I have here. There are 2-inch spacers on my Sears over here, and they've been on for almost a year now, and they haven't come loose yet. I see a lot of these coming loose because people don't bolt them on right. Another thing to pay attention to, most all your studs are 1/2 inch, whereas your stock bolts are 7/16. 7/16 coarse thread on Sears and Craftsman, or 7/16 fine thread on a lot of other stuff like Wheel Horse. You'll have to drill out the holes in your rim to accept these studs. Just a 1/2 inch. So, yeah, I don't think there's really much more to say about it than that. Loctite is your friend. It's wise to use Loctite. And if you get a long bolt like this that sticks out the back side of the hub, I would recommend putting a lock nut on the back of it just to lock it on there. Just extra precautions. You can never be too careful. It really sucks having your wheels come loose and do all this nonsense when you're going down the road or a trail or whatever. Alright, so here's what I was talking about with the ground down nut. Just gonna stick it in there and get it started. And take the impact. Run in there like that. That one in there. That one in there. There you go. On there pretty good, I think. So some slight issues I didn't really think about. That set screw is in the way because I run these hubs flipped around from where they're supposed to be. So there's a set screw there. So that means I need to knock out one of these studs and then notch out in there for it, which is whatever. But then also, I went and did that to the other side and noticed when I went to put these on here that, get in there. And whatever. There it is. They hit there before they hit in there. There's a gap in there. So that means I need to chuck these up in the lathe and put a big chamfer, cut out that corner there so I could bolt those up right. So Besides that, I did that all to the other side, and it's on there good. So, yeah. This one is a little bit tighter than the other side was. Dang. Yeah, that's what it looks like when it's done. And this is the mess it makes. So there she sits. 2 inches wider overall, 1 inch wider on each side. We've upgraded from 3 to 4 lugs now. Take what you can get. Gonna see how much more stable she is.